Hi, everyone. This is CJ Miller, also known by Claudia, and this is a pre recorded, edited version of the show that Matthew Bueno and I did on Tuesday night, May 20th, 2014, entitled The Shaman's Journey. And I had to edit this for quality because we had lots of technical difficulties with the first part of the show. Um, but it was a great show, and so here it is, the edited, perfected version. I hope you enjoy it. Matthew gives an excellent activation at the early part of the show. And then the rest of the show, he gives some beautiful stories. He shares some beautiful stories about his journey as a healer, as a shaman, and talks a lot about what this weekend will be. This weekend, the Shaman's Journey Weekend Intensive is going to be this weekend, actually, when I'm putting this out, May 23rd, 24th, 25th. So please enjoy the show. Thanks for tuning in. Much love.
Well, hello, everybody. Excuse me. This is CJ Miller. OMG. That was crazy. Matthew Bueno. My dear Matthew.
Now?
Oh, my God. Oh, thank you.
I'm having abandonment issues here.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez, Louise. I don't know what, I was just, what a crazy beginning, huh?
Yeah.
Jeez, that's not the way I planned it at all.
And, it's all right. It happens, and it's okay.
Yeah.
We're sticking to it, We got to just, hold on to our guns and just make sure that we're in our peace and we're not, getting too floored by energies and just allowing ourselves just to be present,
Yeah.
And sometimes, that's the hardest thing is to really just remain calm, breathe, and then everything will be exactly what's supposed to be,
Mhm.
So, yeah, I was having some kind of difficulty today with my computer earlier. I was trying to give an activation on my community over here at my community, and when I lost my Wi-Fi, I was like, "What? The lights are on. The signal says I have Wi-Fi, but I can't get on." So it's totally okay. I'm totally all right with everything that's happening. So it sounds like you had kind of a rough day today, yeah?
Yeah, I definitely had a rough day. It was like interpersonally, it just, I don't want to get into it, but it was very hard for me to maintain a neutral mindset. And even with last week I went to, I had all these things with this Buddhist monk, and I even took a blessing, and I kind of took on Buddhism. I'm sort of becoming a Buddhist now, I guess. I say sort of because I'm not really a religious person, but Buddhism is about loving kindness, and that's, I practice that, trying to do that and meditate. But it's so hard to keep that mindset when somebody makes you crazy and upset. So it's been a tough day for me. I was trying to be kind, and then I just lost it like an hour and a half before the show. So I was hoping it wasn't my energy that was like, oh my, I had never seen this happen before. There was all these spinning wheels, and I was like, I'm not on hallucinogenics. What is going on here on the board? It was very, I'd never seen that before. So, but yeah, is there something? I mean, I know we're here to talk about the Shaman's Journey, and it's a very special show. But I would love to, if you have time today, to address the energies that you feel are going on. I mean, because I think everybody's seeing it.
Yeah, you're not the only one that's going through it. We're being tested left and right here. It's about a matter about staying on your path and staying focused about what's true for you, and staying focused to the prize. The prize is the journey. How do you wish to see yourself? How do you see yourself in God's light and God's love when there's no fears, no anger? And there's going to be things that are going to be pulling you left and right to try to test you, because right now we're in a transfixed, transformational time, and where everything becomes super, super sensitive, where you're going to get triggered by just, someone's going to drop a pencil and you're going to say, oh, my God, I can't believe you did that. Why am I reacting that way? Just a pencil. It's usually, and so it's just a matter of, because the new moon that we just had was tremendously strong. I spent the last week up in Mount Shasta over at Stewart Mineral Springs for a Humble Leche. Humble Leche is ceremony of vision questers. So we had 6 vision questers, all men, up in the mountains. So what that means for me is that I get to sweat about twice a day for 4 days. So I sweat about 8 times, maybe less than that, maybe 7 times. But we had like 2 sweats a day. We drummed in the morning and in the afternoon. And even in those kinds of situations where we're protected, I mean, it was a powerful beginning. It was a powerful night. One of the questers said they saw a flying saucer up there in the mountains, which I'm not surprised at all. And just the energy was just so pristine because we're there on the Stuart Mill Springs, where the ancestors used to come and bathe, inside that river right there, and they get healings because that water is very powerful. So we're there singing songs, singing energy songs, singing prayers up to the people who were on their quest. They're giving up water and food for 4 days, and it was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful days. 85 degrees, 80 degrees most of the days, warm nights in the 50s and 60s, where we're just up looking at the moon all night, singing songs, feeling the energy of the land and the ancestors. And I could tell you dreams beyond dreams. And just in that energy alone, we had a couple of different outbursts from a few different that were staying there in the campground, getting mad over certain little things that they brought from the outside in, and that happens whenever there's some kind of energy that we're trying to build for a certain reason, a purpose, an intention. People are going to lose it because they're not going to know how to handle it. They're not going to know how to ground themselves. They're not going to know how to look at the truth and the illusion and the fantasy. What's the fantasy here? What's the motivation behind what you're doing? What is the real fear behind what you're experiencing? And not very many of us has that patience to look at yourself and be accountable. We always want to point the finger, it's this and this and this and this, rather than no, it's me. I'm the one causing my own. If you're having issues, being angry and fearful, then there's a problem in you, and not what's happening. And right now, that's where it's at. Everything is kind of lifting up to a really intense heart chakra level, throat chakra, where you have to stand your ground about certain things that we're all going to get timid about and, squirming in our chair about standing our ground and speaking our truth, because a lot of us, we've never done that. And then when we do it, we feel guilty. Oh, my God, I just told that person. Well, you created strong, healthy boundaries, and that needed to happen. And yet some of us, we kind of get really squirmish about that, and you don't want to look at that. But sometimes you really, really need to clear your space and really have an altar, the altar in your heart, the altar in your body, And a lot of us have to make that journey. The longest journey you ever make is that 2 feet between your brain and your heart, And one of the things that, like just kind of pertains to class 2 is that, we're going to be doing inner child work where the students get to meet their inner child and get to repair a lot of their past trauma and samskara from the time that they were very, very young. And a lot of times when we do that kind of work with people, they remember things that only their child would remember, where their safe place is, where what was really going on in that dark corner or under the bed or in the closet, what was that big monster, what was it really, in human form. And people could experience that shift and change in themselves to where they feel okay about who they are and some of the trauma they went through. They get to go through forgiveness, And so a lot of times when we have inner trauma that way with our inner children, there are parts of ourselves still numb to that memory, parts of ourselves that we don't want to remember, things that are kind of hidden from us until we wake that part of ourselves up. And a lot of times when we do that, we have huge awakenings. Huge awakenings occur that way. And it's just an amazing time right now to be able to be in connection with that, and to have that part of ourselves awaken like that. And for the most part, the people that I worked on before with the inner child have had immaculate discoveries for themselves. And it's not so much that you're going to get the huge plethora of understanding about God, but you're going to understand that God in turn is a child. God really represents the child within. And if you allow yourself to be in your heart, in the feeling of things, you'll understand that by thinking so much about what you need to control yourself about. Let's say you meet your inner child, and the first thing we do, we want to be parents. We want to be adults. We want to control the situation. Well, if a kid wants to go sit in the front of the movie theater, you better let that little person sit in the front of the movie theater, because then they'll teach you about tolerance, patience and love and unconditional love and so forth. And what my child did, my inner child, his name is Jacob, and he chose his own name because he's the master of the universe, and that's what he told me. And he told me one day, he goes, Dad, come here, bend over. And I said, okay, what are you going to do? He goes, well, he unzipped my head. He ripped out my brain and stomped on it. And then he opened up my chest with a knife, and he pulled out my heart and stuck it in my head and zipped up my head. He goes, now think with that. And I had to laugh because it was so true. It was so true. I had to be able to look at that as, as a part of my growth. I had to be more in my feelings than my thinking, because my thinking always gets me in trouble. And when he put it that way, I was floored. I would have never come up with that, My inner child came up with that. So that was really, really distinctful, about what he was trying to tell me, And so the inner child is just a really powerful being vehicle that really shows you the magic, And a lot of people are afraid to go there. But kids are fearless. They'll look at somebody that, it doesn't matter if they're black, white, Indian, say, hey, are you Indian or are you, and they just talk to them like there's nothing wrong with it. Kids are fearless when they're small, before they're programmed by our parents and, by society itself. But I wanted to, just this moment right now, you were talking about having a little bit of negativity, and I can kind of see it around your body. I hope you don't mind that I wasn't trying to, break your or breach your.
Oh no.
Your,
No. I welcome
energy.
any healing you could give me, please.
And just for anybody else out there who is experiencing kind of the same thing, I wanted to be able to, add a little bit to this tonight. I know that this is a different kind of show tonight, and I wanted to go ahead and just give this incantation along with a tiny, just a little activation healing in our crown chakras to release some of this negative energy. This is coming from El Moria, Ashtar, Saint Germain, John the Baptist, Lady Nada, Lady Electra, Lady Jessica, and Metatron. And so we wanted to go in right now into all your fields. If you're driving, please don't do this. If you're working with heavy machinery, don't do this. But just if you're sitting there and you're listening to the show right now, just kind of sit there. And if you can find something in your house or in your space with nature, like a shell or a picture of an ocean or trees, just look at that. Or a crystal or a rock or anything that you have that's made from the earth, just look at it for a moment and draw that into your third eye. And just put white light around it. Whatever is in your space that has some kind of value, spiritual acquaintance, just let yourself see it inside your third eye. And at this time, I ask Master Kazumi, Dewalko, Mother Mary, Kuan Yin, Archangel Michael, Uriel, Ariel, Gabriel, Raphael, Radkiel, Jobiel, El Moria, Saint Germain, Ashtar, Serapis Bay, Master Hilarion, Jesus Christ, Buddha, White Buffalo, Calf Woman, Geronimo, Sydney, Bull, Krishna, Mary Magdalene, Metatron, Merlin, Master Shaw, John the Baptist, Lady Nada, Mother Teresa, Gandhi, Salaria, Asteria, Grandma Lily, Auntie Olga, Master Toth, Master Ayubi, Master Kwan, Sanana, Nichananda, Muktananda, Maitreya, Sai Baba, Gaia, Isis, Lady Jessica, Lady Electra, Master Lucius, Maha Chohan, Pele, Master Moses, Yeshua, Peter, St. Francis, Palladian Light Council, Andromedan Light Council, and I have a new angel coming in, and I keep forgetting your name. I apologize. Anyways, it starts with the I, ends with an E. And she's really, really big. She's like a half bird, half angel, or that doesn't make no sense. She's part angel, part butterfly, and part bird, looks like. And she has 4 wings, like almost like a gigantic pink and white light dragonfly, huge and beautiful. And her eyes are super sparkly, like diamonds. But it almost looks like she's like part, I don't even know what angelic features she has. It's just very translucent. Her eyes are like diamonds, sort of like those angels in that movie, The Abyss, where their eyeballs themselves are all crystalline. That's kind of what she looks like. And she's just glowing a lot of energy. And she wants to bring this energy into all of us right now and to lift these burdens off our bodies. So if you're listening to the show, please allow me to have permission to connect to your high selves while we draw the energy of negativity or blockages out of your energy field and pull the energy out of your crown chakra, behind your heart chakra, and behind your solar plexus. The reason why we pull energy out from this direction is to not allow yourself to control the situation. When you are being loved from behind, there is a sense of security that occurs inside your mind and your body that doesn't always compute with people who walk, with looking at their life in front of them. Anything that comes with opposites, like a dream of death or a dream of drowning, is always the opposite. You're waking up, and dream of death is another rebirth, and in this world, in this shamanic world, there's always opposites. One of the greatest shamans in the world who crossed over, Red Hawk Tom, Charlie Tom, one of the Karuk medicine men, he just said that we're healing the world walking backwards because we're walking backwards through time, bringing in the energy of our ancestors to fulfill the destinies and the energies that the ancestors have been praying for. And he says, when I die, he's talking about himself, when I die, I'm going to come back and help my people. And that's been my prayer, too, for a long time, as long as I can remember. And that kind of sacrifice and that kind of intention already is happening. That's why he is just a great medicine person, because he was able to be in multiple places all at once. I don't know what's wrong with my speech tonight. I'm having trouble tripping over my own words.
Oh, good.
But okay, so this energy, I can feel it being pulled out of my crown chakra as well, bringing in some calming and peace energy. And what Maitreya is doing right now is that he's bringing in a pink pearl light, a big white light pearl, and that what it's doing is swirling around everybody in this today, connecting. And Mother Mary and Jeshua is creating a beautiful angelic grounding cord to surround your grounding cord, so you can start releasing etherically and not just physically. Sometimes etherically, spiritually, we get stuck. We get stuck in our ways, we get stuck in our hearts, we get stuck in our processes. And I was talking about this today with the community. And sometimes processes carries colors. And not all the pinks are as beautiful and vibrant as they should be, because in pinks we have an agenda. In pinks there's a judgment of what pink means, and then a feeling that comes afterwards. And some of those feelings are blockages, because we spend too much time trying to figure things out rather than allowing things to be. So in the color pink itself, as it comes into our heart chakra, let yourself feel what that pink feels like. And if it's a straight positive feeling, keep it. But if there's a block there or a feeling of, oh, what is this, or can't feel it, then that's what you need to release. And just start sending that down your etheric cord with the intention of sending the energy down your etheric cord. Pretty simple. And so just start breathing that energy down your cord. And then I see Metatron's coming in with another beautiful, his hands are like coming out with like flashes of electricity coming out of his fingers. Ooh, I just felt that in my back. Sorry, I get very verbal when these things happen. But there's a lot of electricity coming into the body, around the arms, around the throat, around the eyes, down the solar plexus, around the lower back, to release any phantom energies that we believe that we carry. Phantom energies are like illusional fantasy energies that we think that we feel, but we're not really feeling. It's just the cause of it without the ingredient. It's like walking around in a shell without anything inside. Another way to express it would be to be angry but not have the emotion behind it. And it's like, I should be angry, but I'm not. Why? How come I'm not angry? Questioning that. And that's the fantasy. And that's what you need to release, because that's the shell that you don't need to feel anymore. It doesn't need to be filled with negativity or anxiety or stressful energy. It merely just needs to be understood, looked at, forgiven, and then let it go. And just let yourself know that whatever you let go today, whatever leaves your body, will be filled up with light and understanding and clarity and love. Okay. Mother Mary and John the Baptist are bringing in 4 blue Lemurian diamonds, and they're placing them all in our solar plexuses. Sorry, solar plexuses. All our stomachs. What they're doing is that they're creating this atmospheric energy in there to expand our motivation and to get rid of reservations, to help us get rid of old negative thinking that overcome us and take out our peacefulness. Oh my gosh. Mother Mary is so animated today. She's like wiping her brow, going, phew, that was close. Okay. So if you hear me chuckle, it's because I'm laughing at my friends who are very, very animated today, or making jokes, and which I love them about them. They're just our communication, our connection is mostly about humor, and not really taking anything too seriously, or else we couldn't do the work we were doing. Okay. And then now Christ is bringing in the final blessing of the golden light into your crown chakras and pulling it all the way down your spine, out of your legs, into the earth. And thy will be done. Okay. How did I feel, Claudia? You feel better? Hello? Did I put you to sleep? Claudia? If she's trying to get back on, then I'll just keep talking. Hopefully everyone can hear what I'm saying. One of the discussions tonight that we were going to talk about was just briefly was the class this weekend. And one of the most powerful magical things that I have done in my lifetime is that I have shared everything I have learned.
Okay, I'm here again.
Okay. I'm like,
oh,
okay,
boy.
Stretch this out.
What is, okay. This is, they say third time's a charm. That was actually not my first time falling off the show. The other time you were just talking and you didn't notice. So that was my third thing. I'm done now. I'm done. The activation was great. It did help me. I felt like I released something. So thank you. Was that an activation or what was that? Was it like a little centering? Or
yeah, like centering, activation, just bringing the energy in, bringing, when there's a mixture of energies, let's say we just have all kinds of one-wheel bicycles everywhere. Okay, so everyone goes out and goes, wow, that one's golden. Wow, that one has my favorite color. Wow, that one is translucent. And then everyone tries to get on them. And, of course, we don't have balance because we never ridden them before, and so everyone's falling off their tricycles, right? And so what the masters do is they come into our reality. They bring things into our fullness, our wholeness, and all of a sudden, boom, 2 more wheels appear on the bike. And boom, handlebars and a brake. They make it easier for us to understand what's really happening, to utilize the energy, not to be like a bunch of kids running around who are walking for the first time and falling over all each other. It's okay. It's just life. It's just what's happening right now. We just got to learn to ride the waves, of this new energy, But it's beautiful. Beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah. It is. It's a very interesting time. I mean, what you were saying about these energies coming in. It's like some people are going to be kind of knocked off. It's almost like I think about it as being like waves. Getting hit with waves, and when you're in the ocean and a wave comes, it depends on where you're at in the ocean or on the shore, how badly you get battered about by the waves. If you're trying to hold on, I think that if people don't know they're coming and they have no idea where it is, you know what I mean? Like I think that if you're pretty much asleep, it must be very hard because, and even those of us who are very much awake, like, and talking about this stuff all the time, it's just, it's hard for us too. So I really feel for those people who have no idea what's going on. I just notice it seems like a lot of people are kind of like a little irked or stressed, but I'm so glad that's why I was so psyched that we're having the show tonight, because like, at least I'll have a little bit of a relief, and Matthew's always great, and it's so nice to be with our community, and it's definitely, I'm feeling much better. So how are you feeling? my dear Matthew.
I feel jazzed.
Great.
I'm totally excited. I like I say, we had Humblecha last week, or the Vision Quest, and in that ceremony there's a medicine man, and then there's my brother Mario, who's a Paiute Indian, who's also has medicine, and he put those guys on the hill, and I was sort of like the third man in command, and the women take care of the women, the men take care of the men, and we have a fire that goes on for 5 days. We start the fire at night when we have our first lodge, and then the next day we keep the fire going until the ceremony is done. And there must have been some kind of etheric bubble around maybe about 300 or 400 feet away from the fire in every direction, because there was so much power. It's like there was one guy that was there, and he's never been in any ceremony like this before. He said that he was walking, away from the fire, and he could hear my songs. He can, I can hear this song, hear that. As soon as I crossed the bridge, they were gone. It made me laugh. And on the first day, we were all singing around the drum, and a Bigfoot was spotted up in the mountains the same time that this was happening. Whenever we have some kind of ceremony, the grandfather, he always comes down. He always comes and checks on us to see how things are going. And, just to let you guys know out there, this is not like, a search for Bigfoot, We know where he is. We don't have to do all that stuff and make noises in the forest to call him. All we have to do really is put a dish with some tobacco, with a little bit of berries and strawberries, and you're making an offering. You're making an offering to that spirit, to that man. And he'll come and he'll show you something. So he'll be present. You'll smell him. You'll feel him. And we were singing on the drum the first night when the questers were up there. And this huge wind came down the mountain, just huge. I mean, it was so still that this wind stood out, and it was like a whirlwind that came out of nowhere, and it went right over our drum. And my dad was sitting to my right, and I was sitting in front of the fire, facing the fire, and he was facing the men on the mountain. And then there was two other gentlemen on the left and in front of me. And this wind came and literally lifted me off my chair and dropped me. And I felt like there was like a rumble underneath my chair, like there was a little earthquake. And it felt like someone was standing over me about 8 feet tall. And I was drumming at the time, and my wife says, your eyes got so big, my eyes got huge. I was like, what is that? And I looked behind me to see what was standing there, and there was nobody there, of course. And then I look over at my dad, and he's smiling at me, and he's looking at me going, I felt that too. I said, wow, man, that was cool. And so we had all these experiences up there. And so every day when the questers are up there, we go and check on them. So we go up there to the mountain, and me and my brother and my other brother, Kendall, and we go up there and we check on the questers, and all of them, they're all doing good, all sitting up, they're all facing the mountain, they're all praying or singing their songs. And we go up there, and you can literally feel the energy of wanting just to stare. Like, because every year there's an altar up on the mountain. That's my dad's. My dad's name is Walking Eagle. And he has an altar up there on this mountain that, it has a lot of power because it's been up there since he was a younger guy, and is, in his early 30s. And now he's like in his 60s. So it's been about 30 years since that altar's been on that mountain. And over time, that altar, every year for 39 years, he's been putting people on the mountain, even before his altar was there. And people have been feeling that power. So every year, that altar gets blessed for 39 years. So it's like they're very powerful. You go up there, you can feel the energy vibrating. And what's beautiful is that if you take something from the mountain, you take like a flower, you put some tobacco down, you take a little flower. I brought some flowers down to my wife for some kudos, but I didn't get. I actually got a water balloon in my back, but that's a different story. And I took the flowers down, and people who saw the flowers could feel the energy from the mountain that we came down. It was really hot out there, so the kids were running around throwing water balloons at each other, and I happened to get one on my back. But it was refreshing. But, so those types of ceremonies is we are tapping into that powerful inner world of sanctuary. And that's kind of like what I'm going to be bringing to my classes. Every class is different, and the people that come together are the ones that make the class for themselves. Their ancestors, their descendants of the people that were medicine and their family. Everyone that comes to these classes, are drawn to them because of something they have inside that they want to figure out or they want to understand or have clarity. And And the energies of the masters, the energies of our spirits, and the energies of the land will bring that about. It's already been prayed over. It's already been the intention. And so, in this next few days, I'll be powering up myself and get myself ready for, whatever changes that need to take place. Because, we always have a foundation of what we're going to teach, but something always changes, and I love that experience because we get to live in the moment. Over the years, I've had this voice that has come to me in a woman's voice. And I thought it was my mother. I thought it was my birth mother all this time. I kept hearing this voice when I lived in Santa Cruz. I heard this voice would call out my name, Matthew. And I would answer it, what? And then I wouldn't hear anything. And then every once in a while, I'll be up in the mountains, Matthew, what? Then I wouldn't hear anything. And then I was in the Sweat Lodge on Sunday, and I heard it again, Matthew, what? And they didn't answer me. And then I finally got tired of it. I told my dad, I keep hearing this voice. He goes, that's spirit. They're just letting you know things are changing again. Oh, that's right. Every time I hear that voice, things do change. But it's a woman's voice that I hear every single time. And so for the life of me, for a long time, I thought my birth mother had crossed over. That's how I thought that, Oh. And she thought the same thing of me. But so the voice is one of the things that have always come to me like a deja vu. Whenever something great is coming into my world, I need to pay attention. So it's like, if you're in an alley and you're walking down and all of a sudden you hear someone call your name, you're going to want to be aware about what's coming,
Yeah, sure.
And so, there are many, many ways to take on spiritual abundance for yourself. But something has to be reached. You have to make a complete choice about how you're going to live your life. We can't be a drug dealer or an alcoholic and want to run humbleches or we have to be drug and alcohol free. Now, this is something that your body, your mind needs to be pure at. Or it has to be a medicine that calls to your spirit, And some of those things are good, but too much of it will keep you tapped off, and you won't be able to extend yourself into your higher realms. The reason I say that is because it's from my own experience. It's from my own experience. And I'll share with you. This is the first time I'm going to share this with anybody. I mean, with you guys, anyways, in my community. No one's ever heard this before from me. But, for many, many years, I was I was an alcoholic drug addict for many years, about 14 years. I started drinking when I was 14, and I stopped when I was 28. And I've had my ups and downs since then too, until now. I'm not saying that So when I was 28, I had a very powerful experience, and I knew that something in my life was trying to change me. I knew that something was trying to get me ready for something big happening in the world, and I needed to pay attention to that.
Matthew? Hello? Okay, Matthew, you're fading. We don't hear you now. So, okay. Oh boy, people, this is just a night of some funny things. So we'll just keep going on, and maybe Matthew will come back in. Oops, okay, he's completely dropped now. So just call back into the show, Matthew. 530. Here you go. I think this may be you, so let's see. Hello, is this Matthew?
Hey, me again.
Hey, that was weird. Again.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, I just want to interject here because I'm aware of the this is what happens when we lose a little bit of time at the beginning. I just want to check in with you, Matthew, because we didn't really determine how long the show would be tonight. So I want to find out the parameters. We also want to talk about, this is fascinating, and I think that talking about what, where the voice is coming from, how you got into this is good, because this is the stuff that gets people excited about wanting to learn, and we're going to talk about your class. So, but just how much time do you have today to do this? Do you think till?
I have much time as you need.
Okay. Okay, great.
I don't have any. Yeah, I'm good
All
to
right.
go tonight.
So, okay, good. So what I was thinking is we'd go till about 11 o'clock. So that gives us A little over an hour more.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So, what are we going to be doing tonight in terms of will we be taking some questions from callers about certain things that they'll be learning?
What I wanted to do was I wanted to share a little bit just about my own personal experience with God.
Okay.
And,
great.
And how it changed how it changed my life, and how I decided that I wanted to, how I came about teaching, and the power that comes through me, and a little bit about that. This is like sacred stuff that I'm going to be talking about, and and so I'm trying to be really careful about how I talk about this. And just so you know, this power is for everybody. It's just not for me. It's for everyone who feels that they are ready for it. And it's not up in your head. It's not about what you see or what you think you see or what you think you experience. It's a darn right out experience between you and God that no man, no way could ever bring this into your life. So, anyways, I was up in Santa Cruz, and I was having a hard time, and I was pissed off at God. Basically, I was pissed off at God for making me a human being, for making me become adopted, for not knowing who my birth parents were, not knowing if I have brothers or sisters, not knowing who I was, if I was Native American or not, and I had all this emotional stuff going on with me, and I had just come back from a series of medicine dances up in Yakima with my brother Ron Pinkham, who's another medicine man from the Nez Perce Nation. And he took me up there because he wanted to see how it would affect me. And, whoa, boy, he brought everything up to the surface. And there's this one part of Santa Cruz that really, really feeds my soul. And it's where I had a vision, like maybe a month prior to this journey, and I saw myself walking between worlds. And I saw myself walking in one world with fresh water and another world with salt water. And a man on a painted horse came to me and told me that I had a gift. And then he later told me that was Crazy Horse. And I didn't quite understand what all that meant. Dream, it felt really real, and I could smell the ocean. I could see the fog and smell the ocean, and hear the voice again calling my name. So I went out to the beach, really angry and pissed off, and it was during El Nino. We had El Nino in 1998, where we had dramatic winds. We had, sand just whipping everywhere on the beach, big old thunderous clouds and wind and big old waves crashing, and that's how I felt. I felt all that dramatic feeling of all that crazy weather was what I was feeling inside myself, but I didn't understand that until later. And I went down there like I was greeting a friend. Everybody was like trying to build teepees to get out of the wind, and they were like hiding under tents and blankets. I didn't care. I was so pissed off at God. I don't know if you saw that Forrest Gump movie where what's his name goes up to the top of the ship. He's all, "Come on, you son of a gun, da 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 da. Come on, is that all you got? Come on, give it to me." That's how I felt. I wanted to go head toe to toe with God because I was pissed off about being alive. And and there's some dramatic experiences behind that too. But I know that my life had a purpose for whatever reason, And so I'm on the beach, and I'm singing my songs. I'm trying to I heard some songs that in Yakima that were so beautiful, and I was trying to bring them back, and maybe I would have some kind of understanding. And it didn't last long until I started to get angry, and I started throwing rocks at the water, just yelling at God, "F you, God. Why did you bring me here? Why did you make me be born? I don't want this life. I hate you. I don't want to be here. Take me home," all that stuff. And all of a sudden, I felt like these two gigantic hands of cold, silvery, electricity, numbing, paralyzing feeling came over my whole body. And it's like two hands grabbed my legs to where I couldn't move. And I was struggling to move. I was like pissed off. I was still trying to move, like, being shot with a tranquilizer gun. And you're trying to go, whoa, we're still trying to talk, and you can't, And I'm squirming, and I'm standing up, and I can't move. And I'm thinking to myself, oh God, I think I pissed God off. and I was like, oh, I was still struggling, still trying to move, and the numbness came all around my arms, out around my head, and I was paralyzed. I was standing there looking at the ocean, scared to death about what I had just said to God. And I swear, as soon as I started to surrender, that big word, surrender, I started surrendering, and I surrendered, and I felt my heart melt. I felt all the ice melt off my heart. I felt all the blocks around my heart start to perish and dissolve. And I dropped to my knees. I just dropped to my knees and I started crying. I just crying and sobbing. And I noticed right in that moment that the water started to calm down. The wind started to calm down. And it's like a Hollywood movie. The clouds in front of me parted and the sun just beamed straight on my third eye. And I'm sitting there, and the water is just touching, just lapping little bit by little bit against my knees, and the sun came out, and I felt everything around me calm down when the sun came out. And the wind stopped, and the waves calmed down, and I was exhausted. I was totally exhausted. I was just drained. Got up, I started walking back, and I turned around, and there's this wall of people staring at me. Who is that guy? I was walking back up the beach, and my girlfriend at the time, she was crying, and she was just telling me, they did that for you, they did that for you. I said, what are you talking about? Let's go home. I'm beat, And everybody's just staring at me and looking at me and like, who is that guy? Everyone saw what happened. I didn't understand anything until later, later on that year when I had to use that as part of my healing. But I could tell you that was not man-made. God spoke to me through that ocean. God talked to me, and I felt that power at least about 7 more times in my life until now. I mean, the last time I felt that was I was in ceremony in Sundance in South Dakota, And there's been many, many experiences I've had that had to have that power come through my body that way. And just by knowing that in myself, I know that there's a greater part of me that has a greater understanding. And if I allow that part to teach me how to be in this lifetime, then I will be teachable. I will be humble. I will be sincere. And I will be able to let myself be guided how my ancestors are guiding me now. And so what I do in my classes is that we open up the energy field from my high self, from my energy, from my ancestors, and we bring that energy in. And we raise the vibration as high as everyone's high selves will allow them to go. And we open up the doorway for people to receive, And people always ask me, how do you do this activation? What is an activation? How does that stand for, And I tell them it's just, the activation is another sign of love. It's just, it has a different name. I'm sending love out. That's all I'm doing is sending love out. Mm-hmm. But I give it a name because it has an electrifying energy that not only helps people to experience love in the moment, but it comes to them the way they understand it. And that's how I believe God and the Masters teach. They give you experiences that teach you how to trust yourself and how to trust what you feel inside, and not what you're reading in a book or what you're seeing on the movie theater, but an actual experience that no man can ever make for you. No woman, no man, no operation. It's a spiritual feeling of connection, and that connection is lifelong. It's not going to stop. It's not going to leave you at the bus stop. It's not going to leave you off the corner. It's not going to tell you it's going to buy you dinner, then leave you there standing holding the bag that you got to wash the dishes for. It's not going to leave you hanging. You're going to have the voice inside you the rest of your life, and this is what we're bringing to the people. This is what my job is. And I've accepted it completely. So this class that I'm bringing in, what we do is that we call in all the masters. And I go into council with them first. And I ask them, what do you want me to teach first? And so the shaman's journey is about ascended mastery with the angelic guidance. And, what we do is that, when we're embarking on this, we're bringing in the skills and the techniques that I have used over the years that have worked for me. And some of these techniques have grown and evolved. And I'm happy for that because, routine sucks. Basically, I don't like routine. I like new stuff. I like the new experiences. So when people come together, a fresh feeling that when people come together for a reason, there is an energy that transforms in those people. And those people bring out the best in each other because each of them are a reflection of one or the other. So basically, the shamans that I've known over my lifetime are brilliant, more powerful than I'll ever be, And I'm glad just to be in that understanding about how it works and when it works, And the most important thing about being a shaman or being someone who carries medicine is to hold the things to yourself that means the truth to you. If you have an experience and you go out and tell everybody about it, what happens is that God gives you an experience of beautiful energy. And it's like a big, gigantic balloon that has to process through your body so you can accept it and grow from it. You tell somebody, you go out and tell somebody else, tell somebody else, tell somebody else, you're going to be putting pinpricks, and all that big balloon is going to deflate. And you're going to feel bad because, all that energy is going to go to waste. So it's really important, as the Hawaiian people call it, is to keep your mana, to really hold true to what you feel is true for yourself. So in this class, it's an individual course of healing that needs to be respected in order for it to evolve in you. It's a feeling, a freely given energy, but you need to take care of yourself. Yourself, your body is your altar. And so when we bring the masters in, the first part of the class is always clearing, because we all know that when you have tremendous power coming from your brilliance of your soul, we also have personalities and attitudes and belief systems and programs that just filter all that beauty into something that it's not. So what we need to go in self-discovery. And with any kind of self-discovery, you need the acceptance of support. So we bring in, we bring in an initiation with and a few other ancestors that come in, and we do a guided meditation and activation of your animal spirit. And by knowing who your guides and master teachers and masters that want to work with you and your animal nations, you start to begin to understand that support is in your corner. When you have the energy of support by a master, your master teacher, master guide, an animal, they'll come to you because there's a specific reason. A friend of mine, Lizette Stone, down in L.A., she asked me a while ago, are animals a part of you, or do they grow with you over time? Something like that, because she was making children's books. Are you still there? Claudia?
I'm listening. Yes, I'm here.
Okay, I was just making sure. So she asked me this question about our animal spirits. And, as children, we carry very, very powerful spiritual animal gifts that really help us to endure life's trials as we grow up. And as we grow up and we evolve and our mystery changes with ourselves, our chapters of our life changes, and we get broken hearts, we fall in love again, we lose parents, we lose relatives, we become fathers and mothers, we become mentors, we become providers, we become a leadership in our community. Whatever it is that you're doing in your life, your animals shift and change with you, and their energy just broadens for you. Like, I didn't start carrying the bear until my 20s when I discovered healing. And when I asked a bear medicine animal how to adapt my energy skills to its energy, because it was big and I was big, and some of the attributes of a bear is what I have. I kind of walk with a slouch, and I don't have a butt, and and I have just a big heart, and a lot of people have always gone, oh, you're just a big bear, So I got my first name from a shaman or a medicine man. His name was he was a Yuipi man from South Dakota or Canada, and my first name was Wakia Mato, which was lightning bear. And then when I went to Yakima, I was given a different name, which was Tipilana Wayakin, which was eagle spirit. And so those are the two names I've always held and worked with. And what a name is just not a name when you're given a name. A name is a name that you have to live up to. It's not something you're just going to get, You can't go to a powwow and want a name and then say, oh, great, I'm, walking with crabs or something, or, walks like a beaver or whatever it is. And, and you have to live up to that powerful name. You have to have a story behind that name. You have to have a legacy. You have to build yourself into that name. And, and so over the years, the bear for me has been a profound animal about integrity, standing my ground, being in integrity, standing up for what I believe in, and yes, getting stuck with honey and, and getting all over my face and getting all over my hands and having to clean myself off. But I get up, find the right tools to understand that I'm human too and I make mistakes, And so the bear talks about humility, talks about it's okay to make mistakes, Even in the successful world, people make mistakes all the time. But it's about allowing yourself to understand those mistakes and not try to do them over and over again, but, learn from them. And so we learn from each other. And, it's like, over time, bears and animals appear learning from the humans. They know that the garbage can's on the side of the house. There's some food in there. They know that, what time of the year to go to rest. And sometimes we don't get winter time, so they're out all the time looking for food. But they're survivors. And that's just like me. I'm the survivor, and I have strong instincts just like the bear. I can sense things. I can sense negativity, and I can sense entities, and I can sense the smell of a disease in someone's body, and I know the solution for it. So there's all kinds of awarenesses that the bear have that matters to me, that that relates to me, And I didn't go after the bear because it's a big animal. I went after the bear because it has the gentleness that I am inside myself, that I'm afraid to look at, that I get insecure about being too feminine or being too balanced, inside myself, And there are many, many attributes of different animals that come forward that help us understand more of who we are. So that's part of this shamanism of the journey, is learning your own helpers. Who are your helpers? What is your power? What is your direction in the 4 directions? Where is your home planet? And to have all those self-discoveries coming into fruition, you're going to have more understanding about who you are and where you come from and that power that you carry. And it's just not power, it's the love. It's just a different name for love. And the more love that you have, the more grace you'll have, and the more energy you'll have. And you'll have more understanding that this world we live in is not actually the world we were born into. Because when we're in our mother's womb, we're in a different world. We can hear the world outside. And we can choose to take on those negative energies or take on our mother's pain or take on whatever. And if you have the family like I did, my Aunt Melva, she prayed over me when I was in my mother's womb. And I wrote about that in one of those books. And, and that was a magical experience because I remembered it when I was 14. I woke up one night and I had had a vision of myself, of that happening. And, that was something that happened to me when I was very, very young. And so as children, we come into this world with all the power of medicine people until we're about 7 years old, and then everything changes after that. So what we do is that during this first day of initiation is that we take people back into that time to remember all that energy, to remember all that love, to remember all that power by doing that. And then later on in the class, we help people find their inner children to show them more. So the more support you have by spirit, the more energy and more guidance and the more secure you feel about what you're doing in the world. You're not alone, And the thing about being alone is that it's okay sometimes, even if you think you're alone, you're not alone, ever, Your master teacher, your master guide are always there with you. And one of the beautiful things about the masters is that they'll share with you anything you want to know about who they are, what they're doing, what they're trying to express into this reality, and what they'll help you see the inner world become in yourself. And once you create your inner world with yourself, then you can have all the activations and all the love and all the healing that you ever want, because you'll understand that moment that it doesn't have to be your birthday, it doesn't have to be Christmas, it doesn't have to be Easter. You can ask for activations and love and blessings all day long and receive them one by one. But the thing about it is that what we lack is that then we can't, when we're in that place of continued love and continued blessing, it's like, well, you might as well be a monk and live in a monastery because you got to live in the world too. So what am I going to do with all this energy? What am I going to do with all this emotion? What am I going to do with all these gifts, And so what my task was that I became a massage therapist. When I became a massage therapist, they gave me the certificate to be able to work on people on a higher level. And on that level, I was able to understand what unconditional love was, tolerance, compassion. And for the 20 years I was massaging, I was able to learn many, many things. But I also asked God during my 18th year that I needed to do something else because my hands were getting burned out. And this is what I found. God in his own way came to me with the help of the angels and told me that I have a place, in this world of vibration to be able to access spirit world. And I've always had that gift. I just never worked on people on the phone or in public or, over the radio, and so now I'm doing that. I'm doing that because I focused on it, because I practiced in it, because I meditated on it, because I called in my ancestors, because I worked with the masters. And this is what I'm trying to bring to the people who are taking the classes so they can self-discover it for themselves.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, you've been through such a diverse journey, really. That's what I'd like to ask about. It's a wonderful story. I just want to say I'm sorry that I got cut off when you were telling your story and about how you stopped drinking and doing, and then we lost. I didn't hear what you were saying, so sorry that I tried to stop you at that point, because I know that that's a really important part of your journey. And everybody that's listening has their own story that plays into why they're seeking out your help. Everybody comes to you, Matthew, because they're wanting something different. They're either wanting relief, they're wanting healing, they're wanting something really different. So this is a time, this class can be very powerful for people. And it's really intense what you want to offer. I'm wondering, what is it going to look like? Like, is it going to be a type of thing where people will have a time to be alone in nature and to connect with their animal totems? Is that going to be a part of this weekend? I know you said you're going to be using visualization and then working with the masters. But will it also be kind of a traditional shamanic journey experience where you're going into nature and having time alone?
Yeah, where this place is in Dunsmuir, it's on its own property, and it's right next to the Sacramento River. It's in the backyard. The river is right in it's like 50 feet from the back door. And there's just a little path that goes down there. And part of my the reason why I want people to be at this house is because of the nature in that area, the birds, the sounds of the water. And most of my songs that I have gotten have come from water. And so I'll be taking my big drum up there, my big drum, which is, it's not a powwow drum. I have that one of those, but it's another drum I use, the hand drum. And I'll be doing journeys with the drum. And a lot of times is that when we're in our mother's womb, we hear and recognize the drum beat of our mother's heart, which in turn, when we use the drum, takes people back inside into that part where they need to feel that freedom. And yes, I have a time on Saturday that I want people to go out and just write in their journals, sit by the water, and just feel their own individual connection with the earth. When you have an activation, especially in the high country where I live, the energy of Mount Shasta, the view of Mount Shasta itself, Mudoksamne is what we call it. Mudoksamne is the old man that lives on the mountain. And the old man, you see them, you can see him. They have pictures of him, actually. It's almost like Christ standing on top of the mountain with all this gold light coming from him. And it's the spirit of that mountain. And whoever connects to that mountain or looks at that mountain, that's their connection. And so I want people to be able to experience the energy of the land. When you're in the city, it's really, really super hard to really, really let yourself be connected because there's so many energies everywhere. Even if you go to the beach, there's the only way that things can be erased and rebooted is if there's a lightning storm. The lightning storms and thunderstorms erase and reboot everything in that energy field, But out here, in the motherland up here, up in Mount Shasta, the energy is always pristine because we have really, really powerful deep winters and really, really powerful deep summers, and there's a lot of joy up there. The energy of the water is always happy because the water is so pure, And so I want people to go out here and after they work with their animals. And not just the animals, but the animals they experience on the land. The butterflies, the hummingbirds, the blue jays, the mockingbirds, the woodpeckers, the bobcats, the rabbits, the mountain lions, the bears, the deer, the elk. There's all that out here. So it's
I'm sure.
And the animals will recognize you once you have that glow, once you have that activation, once you have that energy flowing through you, through the activation of our initiation. And again, this is not me. This is through me. Yes, I am trained. Yes, I am a shaman. I don't like to say that though because it makes me feel weird. But I am trained this way, and it does work through me. And the beautiful thing about it is that I don't really have to do anything except to call them in and follow their direction. There's a bigger man behind me that stands with me, which is an uncle or a grandfather that stands with me. And so whenever I'm doing the work, he's there directing everything around me, orchestrating the energy, orchestrating the feelings, and helping people move through stuff. And if someone gets stuck, he tells me, this person's going through this, or person's going through that. And I'll say, okay, so-and-so, you have this, just brief it. Wow, how did you know that? It's like, well, I didn't. My uncle told me, So, and it's just a part of life. It's not something, when you start growing into that feeling, you live that life, it's not something you play with. It's not something you attempt and you're curious. This has to be something that you really, really, really want to do in your life. You want to change your life, this is one way you can do it. This is one way you can do it. I'm just one way. There are many, many ways, But and for me, this journey, teaching like this, instructing like this, has been just a godsend, because I feel my place. I feel my need. I feel my service. And it helps me when my students teach me. When they tell me it's something I never knew, and people always have experiences. And I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
Well, you're a very enthusiastic teacher, that is for sure. And you have so much to share, and it's like I could definitely feel your energy overflowing, like bubbling over. And you're like this cup that just keeps overflowing with good, clean water. So it's a wonderful thing to like, not only, I'm sure that most of the people that are listening to this show are regular listeners and people that work with you in some way, or people from the community of Ascended Master Angels in Facebook. And so they already know a lot of your story, or they know how great you are and what a great healer you are. But I think that what I would like to end this show, make sure when we end the show that people know, is what is it that they're going to be getting from this weekend that's different? Because you're really, like you even said, you're like, I don't even feel comfortable calling myself a shaman. And yet this is the shaman's journey. So, and I know that people are in training with you, and that there's different levels for becoming a shaman. And what I understand of training to be a shaman, that's very different depending on who you work with. I've met a group of shamans, female shamans here. They all train with different people that are from South America. So is this a weekend where you're basically allowing people to become a shaman, or is it just kind of doing the same kind of work that you do, which is a combination of shamanic and then working with the angels and the masters, which is slightly different? Can you kind of clarify that for us?
We all have an inner shaman, an inner medicine person, an inner powerful person, an inner guide, an inner master. We're all masters. And the reason where I got that from was Christ told me himself. When I first met Christ, Mother Mary, John the Baptist, and Peter. I was in meditation, minding my own business, and they came along as little kids, turned me into a 7-year-old little boy, and I couldn't figure out why my pants were dragging behind me, and I shrunk to this little boy, and they tackled me and started tickling me. And I was thrown by that. And John the Baptist was just shaking his head like, you're just like really thinking biblical here. I said, well, yeah, you're John and you're Christ. And I started bowing, and he goes, get up, don't bow to me. And I said, well, you're Christ. He goes, no, but don't bow to me. We're both masters. We're the same. You were born with the same energy I was born with. I am no different from you. We have different experiences and different energies, but we are the same. And then, and he said, we have the same Father. So I took that from the first time I started doing this work, and I started to share mostly about everything that I've been experienced and everything that I know and everything that I've gone through in my techniques and all the classes I've ever taken, metaphysics, etheric psychic surgery classes, until I got to the point where I understood that all that stuff was outside me. But what it was doing was that it was waking up my natural being inside myself to come forward and to step out of myself. And, you know, it's funny because our people, the Native American people, they don't call themselves medicine people. My grandmother says if someone calls themselves a medicine person, they're not a medicine person, because the people make the medicine people. The people call the people shaman. If you call yourself a shaman, you're not really a shaman. You're just trying to make yourself look good. That's what she used to say all the time. And that bothered me. It bothered me because doesn't matter how many times I tell my ego, go sit down over there, sit over there, and I start working with people, I feel this power, I feel this energy, and it was the same power that I was woken up with. It was the same power I was healed with. It was the same power that helped me to clear my life away from drugs and alcohol. It was the same power that came into me and paralyzed me and made me scared that time on the beach. You know, it's the same power. It's everywhere. It's in everything. And I have that understanding, and I can see it into that world, and I can sing those songs that really raise that vibration. And I know who to talk to bring what energy for what. But I don't know what that's called. But so if I have to give it a name, I would say, yeah, I have shamanic training. You know, I can do these things. I can do these things that other people can't. But I am training people to get to that place where they can invoke their own inner medicine person inside themselves like I did. And I believe that all of us came into this world with a gift. And if you learn how to nurture that gift just right, and you have this, have the integrity and have the energy to uplift that plant or that seed or that part of yourself that wants to be. Because if you have this inner feeling that you want to help people, but you don't know what to do, you want to help people, extend people's lives, and you don't know what to do, you want to help heal people, and you're not trained for it, and you're looking for that training, and you just feel that awareness tugging at your heartstrings to do something for somebody that, you know, this is where it's at, and this is what we teach. And we bring things out of the etheric into the physical. I mean, there's some things that I am still trying to understand, but I'm happy that it's here. One of the things I'll share with you is that Master Kuthumi and Metatron and Merlin showed me how to build a brain, an etheric brain that you can actually build in your subconscious and bring it into your physical brain to change the way you think. If you want to look the way God looks at the earth, you can put that in there too. But it will only work if you have the advanced knowledge of the awareness that's inside you, the connection between you and God and your universe. And so that energy, of knowing that can happen, there's an energy called the laser that we bring in during the class that we'll be offering to the people. And it's an invisible ray that takes the pain away. It takes the pain away, it takes the memory of the pain, and it takes the physical blemishes or painful areas of the body, takes it away. I don't know how that works, but it works. And I'm going to continue to teach that because it's helping, you know. And then there's a transmuting bucket. The transmuting bucket comes from the planet of Uranus, and that the spirits of Uranus bring this beautiful transmuting bucket, and we place it on your leg to where you can feel it. And whenever you're thinking negative, whenever you're feeling negative, you actually just take the energy out of your fields, throw it in the transmuting bucket, and you can feel it just transform in that moment, you know. And so there's all these things that comes from spirit that I have no way of knowing exactly where it comes from, but it works. And the people that I've taught use it, you know. And just like the brain, you know, if we can go in and make new brains, make new livers, make new hearts, and if it works for the people, for the best of the people, wouldn't you teach that too? Wouldn't you want people to know how to heal themselves, how to heal others, how to extend life? Because I truly believe that this world, this life that we live in, we have contracts for how long we're going to be here, regardless of what kind of healer you are, what kind of ascended master or what kind of shaman you are. You're gonna perish one day or another when it's your time. But between now and then, I'm gonna do my best to provide and offer and give to whatever I receive through my high self, because I feel like I have a real strong connection with the Lemurian, the Palladian, the Andromedan, the Syrian, the Atlantean, and past lives, and I can bring all that stuff to the front lines with myself and put it on a platter and just allow people to take what they need, And I believe that making us come together as our own torches to become shaman or become medicine people or become workers of the light, whatever you want to call it, as long as you have the intention to heal and you have a good heart and you care honestly about people, things will be good, always. It's when we judge that we don't have vision. It's when we're critical of ourselves that we have no feeling, and those are the things that we want to get rid of in people. We want to help people get rid of, I'm not a seer. I'm a feeler. I'm empathic, but I'm not a seer. The reason is because you judge. You judge. It's simple. And if you stop judging, you'll start seeing. So what we do in the class is that we fill up one cup. That's something that someone's really good at. Oh, I can feel that. I can feel that energy. All right, let's fill that cup to the top. And as soon as it bubbles over, it's going to go into the next cup that's surrounding it. And that's probably maybe sensing, something in their awareness. All right, so that cup gets filled. And then the next cup, it's like a domino effect. Oh, now I can see that color. I can see that aura. And they start there. It's just learning how to relearn about the things you've forgotten. And so, so this class is that we drive this energy into everyone's subconscious so they get to feel their resistance leave. And we don't push anything on anybody. We don't make people try to feel things or see things. We let people allow them to move in their own way at their speed. I'm an Aries. I can't help myself, and I just want to teach everything I know, but that's okay, And I have the masters that stand behind me and correct me when I'm wrong and help me to be, super humble. And, and that part of myself, I think, is a huge attribute about when I'm teaching, because I constantly want to give and give and give until someone says, can I go to the bathroom? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, anyone that has to pee, go ahead. And it's just the way I like to do things. If I feel the energy and it's growing, I want to keep going with it. And the beauty about classes is that everyone gets to reflect off each other. They get to hear other people's experiences and learn from other people. And we all become teachers. We all become teachers. We all become that energy, that vortex of light.
Wow.
So
it's going to be...
Anyways.
You're so excited and passionate, and clearly your passion is something that makes you a really person and a great healer. And not only have we done, all these radio shows together, but we've done sessions together over the phone, and you're so full of energy and you're so into it and you're so guided. It's a wonderful process. And if you can give people just like definite, direct tools of how to check in with themselves, how to tune into the energies of the earth, the animal kingdom, I'm assuming also, the energies of the plant life and the actual different, maybe like, what about, do you guys work with anything like the fairies or any of those kind of the Devic kingdoms? Is that part of what people would be seeing, perhaps? Because I heard a lot of that was happening when I was in Mount Shasta, and I was also at Stewart Mineral Springs. That's where I met you. I mean, I was with Helene. She was seeing a lot. There was a lot of things that people were seeing that I was not. Now, if I was at your thing, I'd be one of those people who would be saying I'm more of a feeler, and maybe it's my own judgment, is what I hear you saying. Like, I have a judgment thinking that I don't see things. So maybe there's something that you would allow. There's so many questions I feel like I have. I don't want to keep other people from asking you questions about this weekend, But what I would like to know, because when I was reading the stuff that you gave me about the show, that really nice long thing about what it is to be a shaman and what people are going to be learning, you say that you're going to help people get to their inner child and that you're going to help people unload their programming. So I would like to know, how is it that this method will help people to get in touch with what their programs really are in order to be able to unload them? Because what you do in the sessions when we have our shows, our radio shows, it's like the masters are kind of going in and taking stuff out. Okay, we're going to take this out for you, and we're going to do this for you. But I guess what I'm wondering, Matthew, is, well, like what I notice is when I'm dealing with my programs, sometimes it's really painful, and even if you help me with the masters get to it, something still might be there that I have to actually really feel at a deep level before I can let go of it. So is that going to be part of the processing that you guys are doing, like individually or as a group during this weekend? Are you going to be, I mean, because this is cutting edge stuff. If people really want to ascend, this is what we have to do. This is the last step. So that to me is where I'm so fascinated with that process, because I feel it when I let go of the programs. Then you can ascend so much higher, and you can stay higher, and you can help people that much more easily because you're not clouded by your own stuff. So
whenever there's a program, there is an origination of how the program started. The origination can reside in either the body, in the emotion, in the muscle, in a cell, in a past life, or in your family, or even into your familial paradigms. It could be something that's handed down from generation to generation. It's one of the things about your self-will is that when we say that we'll only work with people who are willing to go down, we won't push people to go down, as far, we won't push people to do what they don't want to do. They'll work at their own pace. Part of the program is that we'll take out as much as you will allow us to see. I don't know if you hear me a couple of times. I've heard people that when I'm on the phone with people on your radio show, I have had to say to them, "Can you put your walls down? If you're okay, you're safe. You don't have to you don't have to hide from me. You're in a safe place. We're not here to hurt you," because willingly we do have the power to hide ourselves very, very well. And in any kind of program, it is your own willingness to want to let that go or keep it. We can only take out what you are willing to let go of. We won't move further than that. And if you recognize yourself holding on to a pattern or to a program, then it's self-love that you need to start looking at. Because everything that masters do, especially the women, when we work with the energy of programs inside the soul's truth, we can go as far back as you're willing to go, but if you don't feel the change occurring in the moment, if you don't feel the energy loving you in the moment, if you don't feel safe, there are very, very, very few times that people will let go of what's really, really harboring inside them. And that's why it takes the masters who have humility and love and just tremendous amount of love and cherishing energy for you, that don't have any kind of ego, that don't have any kind of end result or reservation or attachment to the outcome. They just do what you allow them to. And so when we work with programs with people, it's better to work with programs, to take programs out of people in a group, because the energy of the collective is so much higher. And the energy uplifts people into an experience that goes beyond themselves. And if someone has the same experience as someone else, and the masters teach that way, they'll throw something out in the very beginning that makes you think about what you're holding on to, but it doesn't directly hit you until someone else has the hit. And then you go, oh, my God, it's that easy? And then as soon as you say that, you've just allowed yourself to be open. I guess another metaphoric way to maybe tell you is that, when I used to massage, doing chair massage, I would have people say, "Oh, the pain's right here in my shoulder." So I would touch it. That's it. And then I would try to rub it out, but that person and their will alone would hold on to it. They would hold on to it, Because it wasn't until I went to their lower back or some other hot spot in their back, find it on that pressure point and push that one, and their mind would let go of the first pain and then run down to the second pain. As soon as they let go of the first pain goes away. And then the brain will come back and go, "Where'd it go? It was just here. God dang it, it ran away again," And you'll look for it because that's what we do. We're humans. So in the way that the masters teach, they go back and forth with different people. They help raise people's vibrations like an organ. Everyone has their own sound, their own vibration, their own mantra inside themselves, their own shaman, their own medicine, inside them. And it's how much light that person is willing to shine and allows other people to see that light. And once you see that light, you recognize the light because it's inside you. That nothing can happen between two people without seeing the reflection, ever. That's how we were born. That's how we were made. Everything we find in beauty in the world is what we don't understand at first. Oh my God, that woman is beautiful. Look at those eyes. Oh my God. That's what you see in yourself. Or else you wouldn't have those words. You wouldn't have those feelings. You wouldn't have that reaction. Where does that come from? It comes from you. Whatever you see in the world, whatever you react upon, anything beautiful, anything, beyond yourself, a beautiful song, a beautiful movie, that's a mantra. That's something inside you already. And then it just expands that much more when you feel that connection to that experience. So when we give these experiences and help with these experiences over the weekend, people get to evolve in themselves about how they feel themselves evolving. And if a program is stuck and holding them in the past, that program will just gladly let go because it'll feel the other side about what's on the other side of the road and what's on the other side of the path. And that program will finally let go and have understanding. And it's in that understanding that you finally let go. And, one of the things I'm going to be talking about in my class, too, is that how to help spirits go home. And whenever you're cleaning a house or a haunted house and you're sending them home to the other side, you're not so much throwing holy water everywhere. I mean, you can, or throwing rose water on the walls, but what you really want to do is that you want to help that spirit find their family. Because that spirit, just because it doesn't have a body doesn't mean it doesn't care, doesn't mean it doesn't feel. That spirit doesn't have a body, but it's still pure emotion. And it left this world with the same feeling it died with. So you have to get in there, into that energy realm, to talk to that spirit and allow it to know and help it to remember love. And Christ said that. He told me, he says, as soon as you make them feel loved, they'll go home. That's all it is. As soon as you get that spirit to remember love, it will go home because that's where the light is. The light is in love. And so, and a few times working with yourself, you're working on your chakras, working on your brains, working with your laser, working with your manifestation, working with your high self, working with the masters, working with your inner child, all gives you the tools and techniques to be able to speak on many, many different levels, not only for physical people in the world, but for spiritual people who are stuck between worlds. If you can go to a spirit and actually contact them with a feeling or a sight, you can actually send back to them, okay, let's make you 7 years old. If they're 70, make them 7 years old, and let them bring in their grandma from the other side so they can remember a good time that they have it making cookies or baking together. And as soon as they have that memory of that fond feeling of connection, of love, no matter how negative that spirit is, it's going to find its way back to the light. And that is a promise. That is a promise from God, and that's a promise from Christ. And so when we do that, you can feel the energy shift in the house. You can feel it happen in your body. And you can feel, just like holding a salmon that is dying in your hands after catching it in a river, you can feel its spirit leave. Nothing, absolutely nothing in this world doesn't have a spirit. Everything on this planet is alive. And we are too, and we got to recognize that in everything that we are, because we're a reflection of that, Right. And for me, nature is my greatest teacher. And it's in nature that, we receive all these insights. And that's why I live up in Mount Shasta.
Yeah. I mean, You're so fortunate to, and you are so grounded. I mean, that's definitely the feeling I got when I first met you. You definitely have that bear kind of energy. And And you really so embody the nature there, and the powerfulness of powerfulness. I don't know if that's a word, but that feeling of power, that sheer beauty and power of Mount Shasta, and the wilderness up there. It's very special, and gosh, I'm just like, I'm so envious of the people and what they're going to be getting into there, and there's so much to learn. I mean, it just sounds like it's going to be a very busy weekend, and I'm so excited for people and what they're going to learn. And it's just what you were saying, just to kind of like follow up on that idea of mirroring. It's really true. I mean, if we're all one. All us human beings, we're all part of the one. So it's the same thing with the plant and animal kingdom. We are all one, and so I guess that's the idea, right? Like if they're looking to the world around them, if they're checking in with themselves, they're also noticing different things in the changes in the atmosphere or the animals that cross their path. That those things are basically mirrors of things that are happening within oneself, and so we can look to the outside, right? Something like that.
And sometimes when you see an animal, it's a moment reflection. If you have a constant animal visiting you, then it's probably part of your magic, part of your medicine. One of the things that, like, if you see a deer in the road, you got to think about. I mean, that because nature teaches 24/7. Okay. See a deer in the road, on the side, eating with a bunch of deer. It reminds you to be gentle with yourself, not to take things seriously. Something in that day, even if it's the morning, noon, or night. You see a badger, or you see a mole or something about going into the earth. Badger representing standing your ground, and really be at peace for that. And really recognizing yourself as a human being, as someone who carries something special, and not to belittle yourself. When you see a rabbit, it usually talks about, loving your wife or your husband. It usually talks about loving your children, being part of a community, learning not to fear as much, check in with your fear, make sure that you're looking at your motivation behind your fear. You see a bat, usually means changes. It usually means to stay out of your head about fear.
Wow.
Dragonflies, they're another magical being, of the insect world. They are protectors. And there are a lot of spirits that jump in and out of animals all the time. Woodpeckers, hummingbirds, jackrabbits, the dragonflies, bears, and they'll appear for you at certain times. And if you start giving them that power, you start recognizing them in your life that way. One of the greatest books there is out there is Ted Andrews has a book about animals speak. Ted Andrews has a really good book about how animals speak to us. And we have that book here, but basically it's like a dream. When you have a dream, someone can tell you what it means, and you'll say, okay, yeah, that kind of resonates. But when you feel that connection to your dream, think about it all day long. Write it down and see what symbols stand out to you the most. Is it night or day? Was it colder, wet, or dry? Was it hot or cold? You know what I mean? You try to figure out whatever stands out and put those together like a code, and you pray on it. And then you'll probably have another dream that tells you about the first dream. Using dream magic, you can actually make a course for your life. We did today an activation on prosperity. And a lot of those, when I was channeling that, they were really talking about, we live in two worlds, Your world, you're living in lack. This other world has always been here, and it's fluidous. It's abundant. It's prosperity. It's all there. But where's your mind? Where's your body? What's it looking at? Are you looking at that mirror? You're looking at that mirror. If you want to look at that mirror, you're going to have to do an initiation to cut that from your life. But you're going to have to change your attitude and change your programming about receiving. That's all it is. Because all of us,
Matthew?
some way or another. What?
Matthew? Okay,
yeah.
You were just starting to have a really weird connection, but talk a little. It's okay. Now I don't hear it anymore. So, it started to sound alien-like. So, sometimes that happens. Sometimes that happens. Like I know that happens to Franco sometimes when he's on the show and it's just getting very high vibrational. So maybe it's just too high vibrational. What are you going to do?
I'll bring it down.
It's good.
Yeah.
We want that. We want that high energy. But I'm keeping track of the time because I said we'd end at 11. So now we don't have that much time left in the show. So people were going to, they were going to end this experience tonight of this show and have more of an idea of what they would gain from a weekend like this. Say either they can try to go this weekend or they can get an idea of what you're going to be doing at another time. Because I'm assuming that this is not the only time you're going to do this. This is maybe going to become a regular thing.
Yeah, I'm probably going to teach the same class probably like 3 more times during the summer, and then I'll change it. I'll probably what my passion is that I want to do an instruction class where I can teach teachers how to be teachers and teach this. This might work. But I'm sorry, what was the question?
The question was, now I can't remember the question. God knows where it went. Something about what people would be getting out of this weekend. Oh, no, that this is what I was saying, is that this is not the only time you'll be offering this class, because now we must realize that the class is happening this coming weekend, May 24th and 25th. So it's basically like a Friday through Sunday. But I think there may be people who can actually spontaneously decide to come there. There's definitely people who live in California. It's not that far for them. Or people might decide to just travel across the country. You never know. Crazier things have happened where people do things spontaneously. But I think what I would like people to know is that this is an ongoing thing, that you're going to be offering this again and again. And I think sometimes people, they start to hear about things after they've already been in process. And clearly, look at this community, how it's grown so much since we started doing these shows. Since you started being on the radio, people that are into this has grown exponentially, and you have a lot of people that just love your work and love being part of this community that you've created. So obviously this is a chance for that to happen. And I'm assuming, I just want to ask, there'll be times for people to kind of process in groups. So basically, I'm assuming that this will be a very supportive community within the retreat itself. I mean,
I didn't really get
to
touch on that, really. But, I break people into groups so they can process together, work on each other, and discover things about each other, in an intimate fashion, meaning that, get to share a little bit about what they're learning and what their blocks are, and then the other person would blocks, and then they would call in the master, and they would help them remove those things from each other. So at the very end of this class, I have my dad. He's going to be pouring sweat lodge in Ipi, for all my students that are coming to this class. So on Sunday, we're going into the sweat lodge on Mount Shasta, where we just had the Humbleche, next to the beautiful river, Stuart Mill Springs. And we'll be doing a 3-round sweat lodge where we'll be putting on beautiful medicines, Ignish. They'll be putting on different herbs and stuff onto the rocks to help people take them inside to their final initiation of this journey. And I can tell you for myself, in my own experience, that once that I go to my dad's lodges, that I come out always feeling totally, completely different, reborn, renewed, revitalized, and nothing is ever going to be the same anymore. And I love that feeling. And so that's like the cap off. That the last part of on Sunday, we'll be going over to Stuart Mill Springs for that sweat lodge, and then me and my brothers will be singing for the people, so people get to hear me sing on the powwow drum. As well. Yeah, so it's all a part of what you are willing to change in yourself. Like I said before many times, is that we'll only do we'll only take you as far as you're willing to go. And I can tell you just that from past experiences from my other students I've been working with on one-on-one, over the phone and over on Skype, is that they have, there are people that finish, and there's some people that don't finish, and it's okay. It's not for everybody, and it is scary. It could be scary, but at the same time, it's wonderful, totally wonderful, and it's nothing probably no one's ever experienced before. When I heard about Blue Jay ceremony for the first time, I couldn't believe my ears. I couldn't believe that there was actually a board that went out into the crowd, a board, like a 2x4, that went out to the crowd and saw people, and people put their hand on it and carried people down to the arbor with no strings, no ropes, nothing. And the person singing to that board would make those people in and do healing on them. And then people would be like, "Oh, what's going on here? And how could that be?" There would be two men dressed up as blue jays standing up in the rafters, and they would go out in a blizzard and come back with two fresh roses to prove that spirit works. Now, I'm not going to do anything like that. I can't do that. But I have seen things that.
Come on, Matthew.
Yeah, I've seen things that would just blow your mind. Yuwipi ceremonies, when medicine men are tied up in the middle of their altars and laid down, and we cover up all the windows and doors so no light can get in. And then the main man, there's the chanupa holder, the one that holds the pipe, and the one that stands in front of the altar, and then the group of singers. And the medicine man will start to sing, and you'll see all these lights come in. They'll pick up rattles. You can see their lights flashing around in the darkness. They'll come over to you. They'll blow on you. They'll wipe you down with a fan. And the medicine man will say something to you, stand up. They're going to do a doctoring on you. And then by the end of the ceremony, the medicine man's untied. The blankets are all folded up, and everything's put back in its original place. And you're trying to think, okay, who did that? Who could have done that? It's spirit. Spirit lives in everything that we don't understand. There's so much more to understand in this world, And lucky for me, I have many, many people who I'm connected with who are very, very powerful and always handed down teachings to us.
Mhm. Well, clearly you're meant for. You're clearly destined for this type of journey, this shaman's journey. To bring it back to the title of the show, it's a little corny. I'm putting it out there, but you've taken in so much. It's really interesting because you've taken in so many different kinds of trainings, and this affinity for the Native American teachings, even before you knew that you were actually Native American. Like blood-wise, you didn't realize, but you obviously you knew on a deep level. And you've just been drawn to everything that you've been drawn to. You took it in and like with such a gusto. You have such a big energy. And I think that a lot of people are going to be drawn to you because of that to begin with. And you're so generous and you're so, you just give so much. I mean, the community, there's activations every day you give to people. And it's very selflessly. And so thank you so much for doing that. And I really hope that what's going to happen is that this becomes a regular thing for you, because this is a perfect embodiment of bringing community together to help each other. They'll be doing things in small groups and also in larger groups. Now, how many people what's the maximum amount of people that are going to come to this weekend?
I can hold 17 people, but right now I have 8. I have 8 people that are coming.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I'll probably be having
intimate.
another. Yeah, intimate. It's a big house. It has a beautiful, beautiful kitchen. I mean, it's long with marble floor or marble tops, wood floors, a long, beautiful a big table, long table with like 6 chairs on each side, a backyard that faces the river. It's a 2-story. It has 4 rooms with 4 queens and 1 room with 6 beds, bunk beds, and it's beautiful. It's out in the country and it's not next to anybody, and the river's right there. The only thing I think we'll ever hear is the train in the backyard, but that's about it. So
the train that goes right through the backyard, but it's a gentle train, I guess.
I hope so. I haven't heard it yet. But then we have majestic Mount Shasta right there in the north.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous area, and the energy is wonderful, and people can always end up going to the mineral springs before or after, I'm sure. And I'm sure they can also maybe you'd even afterwards book sessions, or people could book a session with you. And God, I want to touch upon this idea of you doing more than just one of these workshops, because as we were talking, I was getting some writing from people that are on the show, that are listening in. One of them is our good friend, Helene. And I just want you to know what she's saying is that that you should maybe come and do a workshop like this in Kauai. She would really love, and I'm sure Miss Kelly would love for you to do that as well. They say there's even a sweat lodge and a camp area in the, I can't read what she said, something about Hanalei. But would you do that? Would you go to Kauai and do one of these things over there with people?
I don't know. I have to really, really think about it. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, there you go, Helene. There you go, Helene and Kelly.
She already knew the
sounds like
answer
she's
to
coming.
that one. Jeez.
I know, but she was writing it. She's like, "Oh, I'm on it." She's going to get it all worked out. She'll work out all the details. All you'll have to do is come. And so this is a model that we can do. Maybe you can even come. You could come all over the world and be teaching people. Once it gets to be a bigger thing, Yeah, I know you have big dreams, and I know you really, I think that whatever you want is really going to happen, and people are so thirsty for this. And doesn't it seem like so many more people, like regular Joes, regular people are so much more open to this extraordinary kind of healing these days. And clearly people are thirsting for this knowledge. And also, it's so nice for them to be able to come to somebody like you, Matthew, who infuses his teachings with such a great sense of humor and groundedness. And I think, people feel with you like, oh, what a great guy. Like, I just want to be his friend. You have that really friendly, nice energy. And, like I said, if I were closer, I would love to come to your weekend, but we'll do something. We'll work it out. Maybe I'll come to something else in the future, because that sounds like it'll be great. Whether you want to be a shaman, or you just want to be or you want to be a healer, or you just want to be more in touch with yourself and the earth, right? I mean, this is for everyone.
Yeah. And sometimes the teachings and the medicine will make you what you were supposed to become,
Mm-hmm.
And then the people will name you, and it's just something that occurs naturally for everyone, And my hardest thing for me, my biggest block, is that I have a hard time being in front of people. I have a hard time speaking in front of people. I have a hard being the center of attention, even though I love it when it happens, And it's just an insecurity that I haven't been able to shake until recently, And then I'm singing in front of people, I'm dancing in front of people, all those things are just really helping me to come about. And when I can face my challenges, when I can face my fears and get out there and do what God has asked me to do, more is becoming revealed. And it's not so much that that I'm bringing, this technology or this awareness to people, is that this has already been here. It might be new to a lot of people, but it's been here forever. And a lot of people now are waking up. Okay, and that's important. A lot of people are waking up, and they're looking for good teachers, good instructors, good people to lead them down the path that will help to invoke their energy and their gifts and so forth. And the masters and the energies and spirits are now, the veils of that world is becoming thinner and thinner and thinner. And the more that we become more aware of that, we're going to be inviting a lot more energy for a lot of us who are waking up, and we're not going to know, why am I hearing voices? Am I schizophrenia? Am I this or that? And usually it's because, the people with the hardest lives, who had the hardest lives, are the most spiritual people I've ever met. And I'm really happy to say that. And I wanted to say thank you to Scooby-Doo out there, who really made my day about helping me feel I was feeling weird. And they made Scooby-Doo noises over Facebook. But, and that just came to me right now. Yeah, Scooby-Doo.
Where are you?
So it's just about, really recognizing that we're not alone, ever. And the helpers that come in will really, really help us to learn about ourselves and extend life, and that's a gift in itself, because it's about the wisdom that you get, from this knowledge.
Yeah. That is so right on, Matthew. Great closing message you ended up giving, because we are at the end of the show. We are at the
Oh.
magic moment of, it is actually past 11, East Coast time. I know it's early for you guys out on the West Coast. It's only 9 o'clock. But we should definitely bring this to a close. Let's have some of the most important information that people need to get in order to sign up for this class. Obviously, they can go to ascendedmasterangels.com, which is their website, or they can call you. And what's the phone number they can call?
My number is 530-276-3642, and my email is bearmedicinemassage@gmail.com.
Bear Medicine Massage.
Not bare naked, but bear like the animal, B-A-R. Bear Medicine Massage.
B-E-A-R Medicine Massage. Bear Medicine.
I just embarrassed myself. I apologize.
He is not a bare naked bear, everyone. Just so you know.
No. It looks funny.
He's a bear.
You know, my first
boy.
logo. My first logo on my business card was Bear Medicine Massage. We won't rub you the wrong way.
That's cute. That's really cute. Oh, so, you know, it's just going to be a very magical weekend. I'm sure that all the people that are there are going to, at the end of that weekend, they're going to leave knowing each other very well and knowing you very well. And it's just going to be really very powerful and special. And I'm a little envious, but I'm happy for everybody that gets to be there and have such an amazing time. And I think what would be really cool is, you know, we have a show next week. Just to repeat,
right,
we have a show next Tuesday, our usual show with readings, and so maybe we can do a little recap in the show of how the weekend went. And, and maybe even take some of the people that were there, and they can share their experiences a little bit on the phone. You know, they can call in to talk about it, because I'm sure that people wanted to talk on the show tonight, but there was so much information that you wanted to share, and I think it was really interesting hearing your story, and because your personal story is what's informing your whole passion and your desire to share this and to get the word out and to help transform the earth and the universe. So, you know, just on behalf of everybody listening, I just want to say thank you, Matthew, for continuing to offer such great work and great energy for the betterment of humanity. And I would highly recommend this class. So please, everybody, if you need to find out more information, ascendedmasterangels.com. Then we have Matthew's phone number, and I'm just going to repeat it, 530-276-3642. And if you want to send Matthew an email, it's bear, B-E-A-R, bearmedicinemassage@gmail.com. So next week we'll be back with the C.J. Miller Show with Matthew Bueno. He'll be giving readings, and we'll be doing a little recap about this fabulous weekend, the Shaman's Journey Weekend Intensive in Dunsmuir, California. So thank you all for being with us tonight, and we look forward to seeing you. Well, Matthew would look forward to seeing you at this weekend intensive, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Just a reminder also for people that in 2 weeks, Franco Di Nicola will be back on my show. That'll be June 3rd. And in the meantime, I'm just so happy to be with you all, and I love you all, and thanks for being patient with all the stuff going on. So, Matthew, would you have any closing comment that you'd like to share with our listeners before we say goodbye?
Yeah, just, you know, one of the things that really drives me to excel and to inspire me the most is just to recognize the people in your life that inspire you, because those are the people who will be molding you to the human being that you're becoming. And once you recognize that you've been molded in a way that reflects the beauty of what you surround yourself with, you'll be able to recognize and see how far you've come and recognize the beauty that you were created with. So let it be. Thank you.
That's so nice. So let it be. And you inspire me, Matthew. So I'm so happy to work with you, and just knowing that all these cool people are listening, and people are really changing and growing from being part of this community, and that inspires me. So thanks, everybody, for being here with us tonight, and please remember to check in with your heart, and as much as you can, speak from your heart. Just love each other. And check out Matthew's work, and hopefully you can go to this weekend. If not this one, you can sign up for his next class. And just great to be here with you all tonight. So thanks so much. Much love to everyone, and namaste. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Okay. Bye, Matthew. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
All right. Love you. All right. Take care. Bye. Good night, everyone. Much love.